Ask the Messenger's TV show is a TV show that educates, informs, and entertains our viewers on public health issues. And now, Ask the Messengers.
Welcome to this week's episode of Ask the Messengers. I am your host, Tina Nelson, and I want to take a moment to thank DWIHN Integrated Health Network, DWIHN, for their partnership over the past few years. Their partnership allows us to keep bringing essential resources and stories of hope through our television programming, as you will hear today. Today on Ask the Messengers, you will hear from a few real people sharing real stories about their struggles and successes of overcoming addiction. Ask the Messengers begins now. The DWIHN Integrated Health Network provides services and support to 123,000 people in Wayne County. DWIHN serves people with mental illness, intellectual and developmental disabilities, individuals with substance use disorders, and children with serious emotional disturbance. DWIHN is the largest and most diverse community mental health agency in the state of Michigan, and it is committed to providing the highest quality of integrated health care to those it serves while working alongside its dedicated and compassionate provider network.
My dad, he was what you would call a distant dad and home distant dad. He was there, but he wasn't there, because he was always out in the streets chasing his habit, But he was there. I know my dad, he grew up in my life, and he did the best he could with struggling and fighting with his own addiction and also trying to raise children at the same time. And my mother just recovering, and we just moving home back with my mother and father from with my uncle, because my uncle killed himself, shot himself in the chest or whatever. I'm going to say maybe like a week to 2 weeks after we moved home, back with my mother and father after my car accident. And that really, it did something to me because I was real close with my uncle. And he was the only one in our family that tried to help us, that reached out, And he did the best he could with dealing with his own family. And then he brought in 5 more other children, that he got to try to help raise or, do for and tend to until the mother and father get on their feet. My mama made it. She's been clean since, I believe, 1996 was the year that I got hit by the car. And I'm happy for her because I can remember some hard times before then when both parents were strung out and trying to fight with their addictions and take care of their children, And it was hard. It was real hard having 2 parents that's strung out, on drugs, and you not really knowing what to do. I'm the second oldest, so we had to grow up fast, me and my older brother. I can remember times where we stayed on Strasburg and Gratiot. And I was just about to start school, and it was around Christmas time, but Mama and Daddy was in and out, because they was strung out on their addiction. So me and my older brother went in the field next door and grabbed a branch that fell off of the tree in the field and all the broken toys that was in the field, we wrapped up for our little brothers and sisters. It wasn't that our parents didn't want to be there. It's that they didn't know how because they were strung out. And I knew that as a kid. But I do want to thank my parents for doing the best that they could, because my father was 16 when he had his first kid. He was a baby. He was 20 when he was introduced to crack cocaine. He still didn't know. And he did the best he knew how to raise men and not boys. You know, he didn't know his daddy used to beat him, chain him up in the basement. His mother tried to cut his throat, you know, so he had a rough life. So him being young, struck out on drugs, dealing with his own demons, did the best he could to raise men. I've only been in jail one time for 30 days. And that was on account of my stupidity and not knowing, lack of knowledge. And I think they did a hell of a job. None of us is in prison. All of us have high school diplomas, GEDs. And none of us are strung out on drugs.
My drug of choice is marijuana and alcohol.
My drug of choice ended up cocaine, crack cocaine.
I was introduced to this program and to things through having an OWI that's operating while intoxicated. I was parked in a tree, so I actually hit the tree and sent on probation. Couldn't pass drug tests and things like that, sent to treatment center, and that's how I got introduced to this program.
Initially, coming into my teen years, of course, it was Wild Irish Rose and an occasional joint. Then dabbled in some pills, THC, mescaline, those types of drugs. And again, as I progressed, I tried powdered cocaine. And one day on a quest to find some powdered cocaine, the guy I had searching with me kept going in the house with my money, and every time he came out, he was $10 short of what he went in with. And I found out he was buying a rock every time he went into these houses we were supposed to be getting the powdered cocaine at. Eventually, I said, well, you seem to be enjoying it. Bring me one.
Marijuana was my family. It was my girlfriend and different things like that. If I didn't have no weed or anything like that, there was no relationship with them. Majority of my time was spent either pursuing weed and things of that such, and the alcohol made me real loud and belligerent and different things like that when I was with my families.
Well, what finally happened was, in the end, when the bottom fell out of everything for me, where crack cocaine had ravaged my life, so to speak, I was exposed by my family, which in reality, they knew when I thought they didn't. It took actually stealing from my 90-year-old grandfather to the point that he was fearful for his own safety, right? And being exposed by my family and being told that I had to leave.
I would say don't do it. Weed is highly addictive. It was, when I first started, it was what we call regular. It was, and then they got stuff called Kush, and then these type of things where it just leave you froze. And your potential, you won't even get close. The money, and to bring up the money, you will waste a lot of money, pursuing that weed. I would say to you, if you notice that you can't do anything or, enjoy any type of movie or function or situation, without weed, then you definitely got a problem. And if you haven't picked it up, or if you haven't got real serious into it, I suggest that you stop as soon as you can, because you can live without getting high.
Anybody struggling right now? The first thing you need to do is stop, if at all possible. Get away from whatever it is that's holding you back. Whatever drug that you may be using right now, you need to take a break from that drug, even if it's 10 minutes. Stop. Get yourself a moment of clarity, long enough to ask somebody who may have some idea of what you're going through, how they stopped. That's what it took for me. Finally getting around somebody that had been through what I was going through and found a way out and was willing to help me find that same way out. It doesn't work for everybody, but you have to start somewhere. And the first thing you have to do is stop.
I was born into this lifestyle. My mother was an addict, so I just thought it was a way of life. But my first drug I ever tried was marijuana. And then when I was about 19, I started using pills. My mother had a lot of pills laying around the house. So I tried that. And the first time I got sick, I didn't understand the sickness that I was feeling. And somebody told me I was having withdrawals. And that's how I was introduced to heroin. My darkest moments would be when I was out in the streets, up for days, lost. When the drugs ran out and I was just was no control. I was hopeless. I felt useless. When you would have jolts of like reality, and when that reality would set in, the despair I would feel would be just terrible. For a long time I thought that this is the way that I was supposed to live because this is all that I knew. But then I knew there had to be something different. I hated where I was going with this. I hated what I was doing to my children. I hated what I was doing to myself. It just came to a point where it was either change my life or die. Oh God, get some help. Go to a police station. Go to a hospital. Trust me, if I can do this, anybody can do this. Because I didn't think that I deserved this life. And my life is different today. Today I don't wake up sick. I don't have to do the things that I did to get the drug. So please, there is a better way. I'm living proof.
My drug of choice was heroin, alcohol, marijuana, crack, but heroin was first and foremost. When I first picked up a drug, I was about 10. That was alcohol. 13 with marijuana, and then after high school I got into cocaine and heroin. Think twice. I did it because of the guys I was hanging out with, to stay up with the group, and those choices led me to go to prison twice. I ruined countless jobs. It's not worth it. It's too much of a price to pay.
Well, my household was just so shaky. Everything was always on edge. My mom was in and out of prison. I was in foster care. And the first time I actually smoked weed wasn't my choice. My brother kind of like forced it upon me. And now I'm here. Not being able to leave the house without my daughter asking me when I'm going to be back and crying and stuff like that. I saw how it was affecting her. And instead of getting sentenced to treatment, I took myself there that time and have been clean since. Be your own person. Don't be some putty that can be molded into anything. No is a complete answer. You don't have to do anything you don't want to.
Yeah, it broke my relationship with my family. It caused my life to be unmanageable. I wasn't able to do a lot, but wanted to use drugs a lot.
My family, we're all in the lifestyle. My family used drugs. At 17, I left home because of my family and, my dad, and a lot of chaos in the family. We had murders, we was on TV, it was a lot. So I left home and I was smoking a lot of weed, and I found someone to take care of me, the club owner. And I was on my own.
Something told me to come to treatment, and that's why I'm here today. About a month ago, I was using, and my grandkids walked in on me. And I think that's the day I realized that it was time to go get some help. If you're out there struggling on drugs, the best thing to do is go to treatment today. Listen to what they have to say, because it do works. I'm feeling much, much better today of who I am and where I want to go.
I've been in active addiction for about 10 years. It started when I was probably about 17 or 18, and it just progressed further and further until it wasn't any fun anymore. I was at a place where I had no family, no friends, lost my job. I was living on the streets. All my hopes and dreams, I was a hopeless person, and I just I was sitting on a log one day in the pouring rain looking at my tent I was sleeping in. And I just sat there, and I didn't want to live anymore. And I could feel this pain inside of me. And I guess at that moment, I just, kind of like said a prayer and asked for some help. And I had a moment of clarity, but I just realized that I was better than this, and there's got to be more to life than what I was doing.
The worst day I ever had using drugs, other than waking up with a hangover, was when I did when I was doing my crystal meth binge. And I can remember on the come down, my heart would stop beating, and I would wake myself up and force myself to breathe, and just saying, if I die, I die, but I'm not calling an ambulance and getting stuck with the bill, so I might as well just tough it out and get through this. And that scared the crap out of me. Or trying to OD in that after my first hip surgery on prescription pills. That was a scary experience. What made me quit was I was tired of the life I was living. I was tired of disappointing myself and disappointing my family and not living up to my potential. So I just decided to take a step back and try to see if living this clean way would actually help any, or if it was still just all in my head.
You can't scare a dope fiend. You just cannot scare him. And we got so much education today, even in our meetings, the best experience is hands-on. And so, like I say, we never have seen it as it's been done today. Never have seen it. You can get some, the drug that they offer today, you can take one pull and it can kill you. I had a sponsee. He had bought a pack and he OD'd just off of 2 lines that he did, right? He said if he would have did the whole pack, it would have killed him. And it's devastating. It's devastating, what this new drug, well, it's not new. We've been seeing ODs, people ODs for life. But now they, like I say, what they had, the movie about the blue magic. And the guy said, the reason I keep it so potent, because I know they coming back, And I want to share a drug that you can get from us that's free. You don't have to pay a dime, and you can be high all the time. See, one thing about it is, living through this program, the disease will come to steal your life, and you won't even know it's gone. It comes to destroy everything that you accumulate.
I grew up watching my dad beat my mom, and this was because of drugs. So, it's kind of deep. I always wanted my dad in my life, but I never got a chance to have him. When my mom left him, she got with another dude, and he was abusive to us, to me and my brother. He had kids of his own with my mom, but they was treated different. So it was just like I always was waiting for my dad, but I couldn't have my dad in my life because he was too addicted to drugs and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So the next time I saw my dad, since I was 3 years old, was in his casket. And it affected me quite different than it did my brothers. I cried. They didn't cry. They didn't feel nothing. I cried because I knew it was so many questions and so much that I was always waiting for him to rescue us from the situation, but he couldn't because why? He was stuck on his situation. Now, my dad wasn't just a crackhead. He was an awesome dude. He was, back in the day, they known him as Vinny Pimp. He was a He was a social guy, and he was a part of the Earl Flynn group. So once I started doing my research, I got a little older, I found out that Earl Flynn back in the day had a thing called Saturday Night Special that happened right around the corner from my grandma stayed at. Saturday Night Special. The heroin was going for low. For the low. My daddy was Earl Flynn, so that's probably right. And everybody was so geek about him being Earl Flynn, but why? I didn't let that break me, you know? I didn't let my mom's boyfriends break me. I didn't let sexual abuse break me. I didn't let the fact that my mom lost her mind and was crazy by the time that I was 10 years old break me. I didn't let the fact that I had to raise my brothers and sisters break me, because I knew that it was nothing else and nowhere else for me to go but forward.
If you have a recovery story of your own and would like to share it right here on our show, record the video and send it to us. Our email information is right there on the screen, askthemessengers@gmail.com. Well, that concludes this week's episode of Ask the Messengers. We hope the stories of recovery shared today will be an inspiration and encouragement to anyone out there who is still struggling with an addiction. Coming up next week, we look forward to introducing you to more of the amazing people on the Ask the Messengers team. We will introduce you to our amazing author series host, Kimberly E. Mallory. I am your host, Tina Nelson, asking you to take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. See you next time, right here on Ask the Messengers. If you would like to help support our show, please feel free to make a donation of any kind by visiting our show website, www.askthemessengers.org. If you prefer to mail donations, please make check or money order payable to Ask the Messengers TV show and send it to 18400 Schaefer Highway, Detroit, Michigan, 48235. Thank you for watching.